They sent drugs to his house. They sent SWAT teams to his house on more than one occasion. This is an actual, it's an attack, it's an assault on somebody. These kids who think they're pranking, they think there's no ramifications, they're totally wrong. How's it going, everybody? I am currently in Grindavik, Iceland. It's not too far away from Reykjavik, and I'm here because it's kind of like a detox. There's some stories that I have in mind that are less worldly and painful, and I'm gonna get to those. But today's video is about swatting, because an innocent man just got killed, and this is something I cannot ignore. Swatting is at the intersection of police, conflict, and hacking, and it's something that I am deeply entrenched in. You may have heard the story. I don't know if it was trending, but it was a huge story because this might be the first confirmed murder due to swatting. Now, if you're not familiar with what swatting is, it's a reference to SWAT, the SWAT police, SWAT teams. And that's when someone prank calls the police claiming to be their target, giving the police a false address, saying something like there's a hostage situation or they killed somebody. Often what they'll do is they'll use what's called caller ID spoofing. Spoofing is when you make it look like your phone, when you call somebody, they will see whatever phone number you want. So the swatters call the police, spoofing their number as the victim. The police see the victim's number, it'll have their name, whatever's attached to it, and they'll say, this is my address. They'll claim that they've taken hostages, they've killed people, they'll kill again, and the police have no choice but to respond with force. And this is a tricky situation. A lot of people have complained that the police are overzealous, that they're armed to the teeth, and it causes problems like this. Others have said, what are the police supposed to do when you get a report of somebody with a gun killing people and taking hostages? Unfortunately, yesterday, a 28-year-old man was killed. So here's the gist of the story. Two guys were playing Call of Duty. Well, this is what was first reported. There were two people playing Call of Duty. Apparently, they got into an argument. One guy swatted the other, but had the wrong address. When the police arrived, Andrew Finch, a 28-year-old father, opened the door and was shot and killed. We've learned a little bit more now. Apparently, these two guys were actually on the same Call of Duty team. Guy B accuses Guy A of failing, of being the loser and causing them to lose the match. Guy A then contacts a man named Tyler Raj Barris, a known swatter who goes by the name online as Swatistic, like Swatistic. This guy then contacts Guy B. Guy B provides a fake address. Swatistic sends a SWAT team to the wrong address. The police claim that when Andrew Finch came to the door, they ordered him to put his hands on his head. He reached for his waistband. They shot and killed him. This is a really tragic story, and this might be the first confirmed murder from swatting. But what I want to talk about, it's not a prank. I see all these news sources saying this is a prank. It is not a prank. This is attempted murder. Just think about it. What is the logical conclusion to telling a police department, a SWAT team, that people are being held hostage, that you've already murdered someone and you plan to murder again? The police have no choice but to respond. Think about what would happen. As the swatting gets worse, swatting is relatively common. This is what's so damn shocking. It happens so often. And often it's young guys pranking each other. They call it a prank, but it's not a prank. It's often billed as such, but it is not. What do you think is gonna happen? The boy who cried wolf. These police departments are gonna be on edge. We're gonna get a report of a mass shooting. We're gonna get a report of a hostage situation. And the police are gonna be reluctant. And this could cause problems. Now, I know a lot of people, they criticize the police. They say the police should not have killed Andrew Finch, that they're overzealous, that why did they're trigger happy and things like that. And I think I believe that criticism is actually fair. The police officers should not have shot Andrew Finch. He was unarmed. They had every opportunity to get into position, to protect themselves behind whatever they could, and to be prepared for what was going on. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not sympathetic to the officers who were tricked into believing they might die. Keep in mind, oftentimes we hear these stories about police. They enter situations where they shoot a guy because they were scared. There's that one famous video clip where a black man gets pulled over. The officer says, show me your ID, your license. And when the guy reaches into his car to grab it, the cop shoots him several times. This is not that case. That was an instance where the officer overreacted. And there are a lot of times where that is the case. This is not fair. Yes, I personally believe the officer should not have fired that shot. I also don't know what's going through these people's minds when they get a report saying people have been killed, they're hostages, he's armed and threatening to kill more. Just because someone's a police officer doesn't mean they are mentally prepared to enter this kind of situation. People are people. I want to get back to the point about pranking though. So, segueing off of the idea of police, let's keep in mind that the officer who shot Andrew Finch is probably destroyed by this. He's been placed on administrative leave. He was tricked by someone. Someone manipulated that cop into doing that. That's terrifying. So let's go back to the prank idea, because it is not a prank, it is attempted murder. The only logical conclusion to swatting someone is getting them killed, getting them arrested. There have been several instances where politicians have had drugs delivered to their homes, where journalists have had drugs delivered to their homes in an effort to frame them, where journalist, security researcher Brian Krebs, when he was researching Russian hackers, Russian credit card fraudsters known as Carters, they sent drugs to his house, they sent SWAT teams to his house on more than one occasion. This is it's an attack, it's an assault on somebody. These kids who think they're pranking, they think there's no ramifications, they're totally wrong. This stuff is really dangerous. There was one instance where drugs were sent to the home of a part-time mayor, I believe. This is back in 2008. The police killed his 2 dogs. This is serious stuff. Now, Keemstar. Let's go back and talk about Keemstar. I am absolutely impressed that Drama Alert Keemstar, the guy who normally talks about YouTube drama, was the one breaking a lot of news on this story. When the story first dropped, they were just saying that there was an incident that may have been a prank call. The police had shot an innocent unarmed man, and no one knew a lot of what was going on. But Keemstar was tweeting out details that news stations weren't reporting yet. He actually got an interview with who we now believe is Tyler Rajbaris, the person who committed the SWAT. And in this interview, he says he should not be responsible for the murder. He tweeted that he should not be responsible for the murder because he's not a cop and because he didn't pull the trigger. In my opinion, that's just wrong. He did, however, admit responsibility to a certain degree and said that whatever jail time they present, he will serve it, and he admits to a certain degree that he was involved, and this is what happens. The 3 people who were involved have either deleted their accounts or changed their names. But think about this. Well, first let me just go back and wrap up that idea. It's really impressive that someone like Keemstar, a YouTuber, independent, was able to get this breaking story, because sometimes journalism, it's not about having a big organization, it's not about having tons of money, it's about knowing the community and having the access. And this was an area, it's video gaming. Swatting is deeply entrenched in live streaming and digital media and social media personalities, so Keem was able to get this out. If you want to check out the interview, I recommend you go to Drama Alert on YouTube, because it's something else. I believe the first confirmed murder via swatting. But here's the important thing, the final thought, the takeaway I want to give you guys. It's kind of cold out here in Iceland, but this is a weapon. They are weaponizing police against us, and there's no clear solution, and it's pretty scary. Russians, okay? I'm not going to get into the whole Russiagate nonsense, but it is a fact that Brian Krebs targeted Russian hackers who swatted him on the other side of the planet. Think about that. You can be in any country on the planet, and spoof a phone number, an American phone number, and get a local SWAT team to attack a civilian. Think about, this is a dangerous exploit. And now, as terrifying and unfortunate as it is that this guy was killed because of this stupid prank, this stupid game these kids play, hopefully this helps set precedent that we need to do. It's a challenge. I'm hoping there's a precedent set that will help alleviate, that will help solve some of the problems, and maybe the SWAT teams can create some kind of policy or practice that might mitigate some of these swattings. Maybe this might be the moment that actually has deeper ramifications for policing in general. And police are going to be on edge and more cautious when they approach these situations. But at the same time, it's also very dangerous. Because when we do face real hostage situations, when we do face real mass shootings, we want our police to be there for us. This is a goddamn challenge. We shouldn't take these moments where the police do something like this. You know, this officer was absolutely manipulated, tricked into killing an innocent man. And we shouldn't pin this one on the police. I've seen a lot of people tweeting that this is a problem of the police and not a problem of swatting, and I totally disagree. Swatting is an exploit. This individual manipulated the police through social engineering to go and attack somebody, and it resulted in a murder. It resulted in a death. And I believe in most jurisdictions that is murder. If someone dies if someone dies while a crime is being committed, the person committing the crime is responsible. So the analogy I've always been given is if you are robbing a liquor store and an old woman behind you has a heart attack and dies out of fear, they will hold you responsible to a certain degree. You might get negligent homicide or something. I'm not a lawyer, but essentially it's along those lines. This guy who made this, he swatted, he used the police as his personal army to harass somebody. I don't know what the solution is, but I gotta say, I'm here in Iceland, and I literally, I think we're about 5 hours ahead of New York, and I picked up my camera and I was like, there's too much I gotta talk about. Because look, this is an intersection between hacking, conflict, and politics, politicians, journalists, gaming. I don't know, swatting is kind of like it's where all these different areas of the work that I do meet, and so I find this personally alarming. I'm not going to ramble on forever. As I mentioned, it is really cold, and I am in Iceland. There are some funny and fun stories here in Iceland, and we're going to be going to Reykjavik. We're going to be checking out some really cool stuff. I just tweeted a photo of a shipwreck. There's a massive New Year's celebration, so it's going to be fun. And I felt like, you know what we can do for the end of the year? There's some really interesting stories that are a bit irreverent. And I think we can clean the slate, end 2017 with just more fun travel, and then get back into the fray once the fray lights up. So let me know what you think in the comments below. We'll keep the conversation going. Man, it was years ago that I pitched a story to Vice News about swatting. And I explained to them what it was, and they ended up running the story. Danny Gold went on this mission, and they documented what was going on. And now here we are with, I believe, the first confirmed murder. What do you think? If you want to follow me, I'm on Twitter at Timcast. If you want to support my work, you can go to timcast.com/donate. Give whatever you'd like or give nothing at all. My videos are always free and available every day at 4 p.m. And no matter the circumstances, even if I'm jet lagged, and you see how bright it is out here right now? This is as bright as it's gonna get, and it's about to get dark, right? Yeah, I think there's about 4 hours of daylight here. But no matter the cost, no matter the circumstance, even if I'm gonna walk around for 15 minutes out in the freezing cold in Grindavik, Iceland, I will always have a video for you guys. So I take pride in making sure that there's always something that I can talk about. What you should do is go to the info section below and subscribe to my second channel. The content there is a bit more irreverent. It matters a whole lot less, but it is my backup channel. So subscribe to that channel because I do have videos there periodically. And I don't know if I said this already, but you can donate at timcast.com/donate. Yes, I did say that already. Ignore that I'm saying it again. I'm gonna get out of here. We've got like an hour-long drive ahead of us up to the city, and then we're gonna start documenting some of Iceland. I believe there's only about 120,000 people who live in the capital city of Reykjavik, but there's a lot of really interesting things that have emerged. So thanks for hanging out. This stuff's kind of depressing. Hopefully this is the last depressing story that I have of 2017. And tomorrow, New Year's Eve, the story you guys will get around 4 will be a lot more fun and funny. And then I've got a New Year's Day special. I might do a live stream on New Year's here because I believe I'm 5 hours ahead of New York. So it'll be about 7 p.m. New York time, Eastern time, when New Year's happens here, and they do a big celebration with bonfires and fireworks. We'll see what happens. Thank you guys so much for hanging out as long as you have. I'll see you tomorrow at 4.